All right, welcome back to the Fit Fatherhood podcast. I'm your host Rod, and today with me I have a good friend, somebody who hopefully will be sharing a lot of really cool information with you, Mr. Orlando Baeza. And I'm actually going to let him bio himself and kind of let you know who he is, what he does, and then we'll just hop into the convo, man, and just get this thing going.
Yeah, man. Good to be here, man. Good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so just like a little bit of background on me. So career marketer, been in marketing and advertising for my whole career. Kind of started my career over at Nike, working on global marketing for basketball, working with Kobe Bryant on his brand, rest in peace. And then I've moved throughout my career to work on brands like Adidas and Call of Duty, Paramount Pictures on films, Guitar Hero on the video game side, then got into startups. And so for the last handful plus years, I've been working on startups like BuzzFeed and a marketplace called Pollen, and most recently I'm the CMO at Kajabi, the Chief Marketing Officer at Kajabi.
Wow, that's a quite a list of names there, brother. Those are big names too. It's not like oh yeah, I worked at Joe's coffee shop and we put out the paper over
Hey man, I'll
there.
take you a good coffee now.
Oh yeah, that's that. I mean, Kobe, Nike, Adidas, Call of Duty. Act like you got some heavy hitters in your resume.
Yeah, man, it's been a fun ride, man, and it's funny like having kind of cut my teeth with these big global brands. It's actually been really cool also to get my hands all over these smaller startups, right? And BuzzFeed, people don't know it as a small startup at this point, but
Right.
being there, like it really was a startup, right? We still operated and thought like a startup and acted like a startup. So it's been fun to do that, and that's kind of got me into this other zone where I've been advising on startups and investing and building things. Like this company I have called Zenpup. So it's just been a really fun journey, and it's just been an evolution and a process throughout, and now it's just getting more interesting by the year, it feels like.
Yeah, yeah, that's dope, man. That's dope. So so you're a father, right?
Yes,
Husband.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Husband, father of a beautiful little girl named Ella. She is about to turn 2 next month.
Nice.
So I feel like I'm getting to the point where I can't really call her a baby, which breaks my heart. And I know she's gonna be yelling at me with sass soon, like her mama. So it's fun, man. It's changed everything, right?
Yeah.
As you well know, right? Being a father yourself, like the moment they come out, it's like everything just changed. I was watching a recent episode of The Shop, actually. Shout out to PR and LeBron and those guys for creating a cool format. But Jay-Z was on there. He talked about when Blue was born
Right.
and how the first thing he did was he went and learned how to swim.
Yeah.
First time in his life. And he was like, that tells you how to transfer. Like, because I couldn't have any situation come up where Blue was in water and I couldn't do anything. Right. Like, and so he was like, I went and learned how to swim the moment she was born. That's like, that it sounds so simple, but it's so transcendent. So yeah,
Yeah.
man, beautiful little girl over here that, it's been fun kind of watching her grow.
Yeah, I watched that same episode and I was talking to my wife about it and I was like, man, I felt that. Like I got a real feeling. Like I've
Yeah.
been there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And having that kid, oh, let me back up. She'll always be your baby, even if she don't let you call you, right? Like
Like,
my youngest hates it when we call her baby. She only lets her sister call her baby. But if we call her baby, she's like, no, I'm not a baby anymore. Um, but in your heart, right? She's
I know,
always gonna be
man. I know. I'm like, can you just stay this size and this cute, but be able to like talk, walk, and work? Like, just be fully independent, but stay this size.
right, right. Yeah. They just want to be able to pick you up and hold you and
Exactly.
rock you.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, those that like I feel like an old dude when I'm about to say this now. Time flies, man. Time flies. You really got to enjoy, especially when they're little like that. You really got to enjoy every moment of it. No
Yeah.
matter what's going on, no matter how crazy they might be getting, like the tantrums, the terrible twos, like you just embrace them, right?
Yeah.
Because those are memories that you're gonna have like I'm saying. That's like I got 18-year-old kids, but but I remember, right? Like these Facebook memories
Yeah,
be killing
man.
me every day. Like these
Yeah.
pictures of them when they were little. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah. I mean, we have friends that have, newborns and infants. And, when we see them, it's like, dang, you remember when Ella was that big? It's
Yeah.
like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. Just gotta try to be present and soak it all in, and you know, cherish these moments because you only get them once.
Right. 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 So are you guys good with one? Or we trying to build a little tribe? What are we trying to do here?
Oh, see, now you're trying to get me in trouble. Um, no, man, we're talking about it. I think we're happy and blessed with wherever we land. I think we have some openness to two. I don't think we'd be extending past two,
Okay.
but we're having some of those conversations. So we'll see where it lands.
Yeah, yeah, that's right about where we were at. We got to because we were always like one. We have one
Yeah.
kid, and then that's it. And then we got to right about where you are, and my wife was like, "Yeah, we should probably go for two." I was like, "Cool, I'm cool with the practicing. Like, let's work. Yeah, I'm cool. All right,
Ah,
let's do it."
that's
Um,
hilarious. Yeah,
and
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 it's
it definitely completed the set. You know what I mean? Like it's just I couldn't imagine our life with just the one of them. As amazing as she is on her own, like the four of us together is fantastic.
yeah, that's amazing. And the age difference between yours?
2 years, two
Yeah.
years and 2 months, I think.
So literally right around this time.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it makes sense, man. It's funny because my wife and I come from slightly different family sizes, right? So like she's only child, and
Uh-huh.
so her friends are like her sisters and her brothers, and so on and so forth. But me, I'm the youngest of five, four sisters, four older sisters. So I'm used to the siblings, and I know, the pros
Yeah.
and the cons of that, right? Just like there's pros and cons of being a single child. So um, yeah, it's funny. We just talk about all these different things and the value of siblings and what it means and friends and the whole bit. So it's just like it's crazy trying to plan for an entire life of another human being
Right.
that can't
Right.
quite think for herself just yet. But yeah, man, it's fun. I mean, we're going through the discussions. We're just gonna take it as it comes, and we'll see what we get blessed with.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm the youngest of five as well,
There
and
you go.
four sisters, right? So
There
I
you
can I
go.
can I can relate to some of the struggles of
Yeah,
having four sisters, some of the blessings of being the only boy, right? But like, yo, the four sisters,
it's
it was
real.
like I'm gonna just go to my room and let y'all
It's real.
squab it out, like y'all
It's
do
so
y'all
real.
thing.
So
Um,
real.
but yeah, so it's funny because now as a dad of two girls and looking back at my dad, I can be like, oh, okay, I see
Mhm.
why you was stressed out.
A lot
'Cause-
going on, man.
yeah,
A
because
lot
you
going
had
on.
yeah, and we're still in the early ages, right? We haven't hit like teenage years and all that stuff.
That's
So
right.
I'm ready for it. I'm nervous though, but I'm
I
ready
don't know
for
if
it.
I'm ready for it yet. I got some preparation to get to. I got
Yes,
some
sir.
preparation before some crazy little boy breaks my little girl's heart.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I know it's bound to happen at some point.
yes, sir.
I'm just
Yeah.
like, man, gotta be ready for it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and there's it, it's coming, right? You know it's coming, and you try to prepare them as much as you can, right? But
Yep.
dudes suck. You don't have
It's just reality, man. It's just
yeah.
reality. It's just
Some young
reality.
Thundercat is gonna it's gonna
I
break their
know,
heart.
man. I know. I know.
Yeah,
Wherever he is in the world right now, I just want him to know I'm watching
yeah, yeah. 100%, 100%. Let him know, be like that scene in Bad Boys.
him. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We all gonna be at the crib. We all gonna be there.
Yeah, got to scare him up a little bit. Let him know that you mean business.
Yep.
Say it's not about all the art, brother. I will put my hands on you.
That part. That part. That part.
All right. So I do want to ask you because we talked a little bit about your career and where you're at right now.
Yeah.
I read that you are kind of doing like some mentoring and kind of interested in helping
Yeah.
people kind of along the way interview better and do things to build their career. How did you kind of get into that part of it?
Yeah, man. Great question. I mean, to really unpack that. So I'm first generation American. I was born and raised in the Bronx, New York.
Okay.
We came from really humble beginnings. And I was the first in my family to go to college and to have a career like this and the whole bit. And so a lot of this, I've been building the plane while flying it,
Got
right?
it.
And over the years, I have I have just leaned on mentorship and coaching from people, my senior that have been gracious enough, and even my peers that have been gracious enough to bless me with insights and their experiences and their expertise and direction and feedback. Because there aren't, nobody in my family has had a career like mine, in the kind of fields that I'm in and the industries that I'm in. And so there isn't really anybody I can necessarily go to and be like, hey, can you talk me through this promo cycle, right? Or can you talk me through, how I can build the right campaign, the right marketing campaign in Spain, right? Or
Right.
in China. And um, and so I've always had to lean into others. And, I'm really humble dude that I'm really appreciative and grateful for all the people that have impacted my life and helped me get to where I've gotten. And so, a big piece of my purpose is leaving a bridge behind me. So like a lot of the things that I'm doing and the kind of the path that I've taken is quite a bit of it is kind of uncharted, and there's been many instances where I'm the youngest at, the only person of color at, right, the
Right.
only blank. And um and so I know that, and the way we change that is by lifting each other up. And so
Got it.
for me, what I try to really focus on is how many people can I impact? How many people can I touch and give value to and give insight to and really pay it forward for all the people who did that for me, right? Because I've been piecing this thing together over the last 15 years, and it's been a massive credit to the people that have helped me and championed me over the years. And so this is, something I'm really, really passionate about. I go out my way to help any and everyone I can. Obviously, I'm limited to some degree by time,
Right. Right.
but I really am constantly trying to figure out new ways to drive impact for more folks. And so whether that's being active on LinkedIn and sharing tips and calling my friends into the comments to my peers into the comments to just add more gems. And so that one person who might be reading that thread might find a lot of value, right? And
Yeah.
whether it's stuff like that, or whether it's like really taking a lot of time and mentoring people and coaching people. you know
Right.
I, I I'm working on a program right now that will release soon, that I've just been iterating on over the past few years. That's just kind of like a month-long program that helps people redefine their career strategy. So anyone working in any like layered organization that is thinking about how to get promoted faster, how to negotiate the right package, how to navigate their career to get to the end goal that they desire. I've basically built kind of a month-long program to kind of help people get to that quicker. So I'm just trying to find more and more ways to touch and impact more and more people, and try to pay it forward and hopefully make some good impact on the next generation of leaders.
Dope, dope, dope. I like that, man. And I know there's a lot of fathers who are providing for their family or we're
Yeah.
working somewhere and trying to figure out how do I get to the next level of wherever company I'm at so I can provide better for my family. So
Hmm.
there's um that's really cool that you're doing that. Like, I mean, I know there's a lot of guys that struggle, kind of being stuck or feeling stuck, right?
Sure.
And not knowing how to get themselves out of it. And you're right, there aren't, well, not that there aren't, but I don't know that I know a whole lot of people who are reaching back, kind of bridging the gap between where someone wants to go and where they're at.
Yeah.
Um, and kind of coaching them along the way. And so that's dope that you got the program. Um, for everyone, right? Obviously, but
Yeah.
we're talking to fathers specifically, so all you dads that want to level up.
Hey man,
Right.
I'm just trying to help, man. And that's what the thing is. I'm always heartbroken when I hear stories from people. It's like, yeah, I tried to get some learnings from this person, and they told me they can't give me the game because then who are they, right? Like, and
Right.
they got to protect what they know. And I just think it's ill-founded, right? I just think, we all have a specific point of view and a different perspective and background. And so what we know, we're always going to be unique,
Yeah.
because there's no one else cut like us, right? Every individual has their own spin at everything. And so sharing information and insight is really important, especially in, communities of color and women and, people who have often been underrepresented and, need access to that information, need access to champions, need to get that, because that is powerful. When you have it and you know it and you can combine it with your skill set and your work ethic and all the things, you become much more dangerous.
Right. Right. Kind of piggybacking off of that and relating it back to fatherhood. As far as like, how you're kind of reaching back and pulling people along in regards to fatherhood, have you had like fatherhood mentor, maybe your father, like, pass some things down to you, like
Yeah,
this is what you do, or like, some friends of yours that have kids already, or like, hey man, this is what you want to do in these first few months, first year, that kind of thing?
absolutely. So like, this is a through line for me my whole life. I've always been like intellectually curious,
Okay.
and so I'm constantly picking everyone's brain around me, and I'm always trying to learn from people who did it. um because like there's no ego in it for me, no precious. Is like, I don't think I'm the smartest guy in any room, I don't think I got it all figured out, right? So I'm always learning from the people that I respect and appreciate, and
Right.
I see doing amazing jobs. And I know a lot of my friends are incredible fathers, and obviously I've got a great father. And so, I'm constantly picking brains. Like, hey man, when you saw this, when you had this scenario, talk to
Yeah.
me about what you did. Hey man, how do you get ahead of this, right? Or even like last year, our daughter was really sick for a bit and just came down with like a really bad viral infection. And we were, I mean, nothing short of panicking. We were basically in the hospital for, a week and a half, trying to see it through and see, with like a bunch of very scary possibilities. And I was
Right.
calling everybody. Did you
Yeah.
see this? What did this look like? What did you do? What do you think about this treatment? What do you think about that? Right. So, and that's like obviously in a really extreme circumstance, but even down to, when mom needs to go out and go hang out with her girls and a whole bit, and it's just me and Ella at home for the first few times. I was like, hey man, like help me out here.
Right.
Because
Right.
some of it you pick it up along the way, right? You learn your kids and what they're into and what they like and what they don't and all the things. But I'm always trying to learn from other people's experiences, and I always apply that to kind of my experiences and find the right formula. And so I did it in my career, I do it in my personal life, I've done it in relationships, I do it in fatherhood.
Good, good, good. I like that, man. Because I think that was one of the things that when I first became a father, like out of my friends group, nobody had, well, a couple of us had kids, but like in
Yeah.
weird relationships where like they weren't with the kid. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, so that was kind of weird, and I didn't really have anybody to lean on. And I could ask, like I asked my dad, but I was 30. The last time he had a baby was 30 years ago, right? And I'm asking my sisters, boyfriends and husbands, and they ain't got no real, you know what I mean? Nobody was really giving me like what I needed. And so like I start reading books and hopped
Yeah.
online and start Googling stuff. And
Yep.
I just like you're giving back to people kind of coming up. Like I wished for, and kind of this what sparked this, as I wished for somebody to be kind of bridging the gap between where I'm at as a father and where I'm trying to get to, and at least just sharing like, all right, so look, first year is going to be this,
Yeah.
the second year, is going to be this. And it don't have to be spot on, but give me some help. Like, you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
man. Absolutely. Share
And
that insight.
yeah, because I think dudes don't like, we don't talk about it, right?
I
And
know.
there's one of the like, even like parents, they don't really tell you, your dad doesn't really tell you how to be a father. Like he may
Right.
show you through his actions and stuff that he does and his relationship with your mom and with your other siblings. And like,
Yeah.
okay, so you're picking that stuff up. But if you don't have the context of why he's doing it or what he's doing, you just like experiencing it as a kid. And you're like, okay, this is what dad does. And
And trying to piece it together.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So like I read a bunch of books in the process of pregnancy,
Yep.
and then afterwards I was reading more books, and then like on YouTube watching fatherhood this and fatherhood
Yeah.
that, and I'm like, because my goal, like I felt like my purpose was to be their father,
Mm,
right? Like my life's purpose was to be their father, and if that's it, then I've got to be the best version of it I could possibly be. And
yeah.
so,
I
I
love that.
dived in as much as I could to try to learn as much as I could. I was in psychology stuff. I mean, I'm all over the place, you know what I mean?
I
trying
love
to
it.
trying to
I love
figure
it.
out everything.
So I've got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
So what's your view? How do you think about using slash leveraging tech in fatherhood? Because I hear some interesting points of views on how tech, gadgets, gear, devices, things like that are quote unquote replacing your need to be a parent that's in tune with your child. I'm curious your take on that, how much you've leveraged it and used it.
Let me say, starting off like that first part of it, right? Because I got right around the time my oldest was born, it was like heavy everywhere. Like no screen time, or like
Yeah,
minimal screen time, or like
yeah,
all that kind of stuff, right? And so we bought into it the first year, 2 years, really. Like the first year for sure, she barely ever watched any screen time. Like it was, if we were doing anything, it was books,
yeah.
or just activities, like action stuff we were doing like in real life, right? And then as she got a little bit older, a little bit more active, and our lives got a little bit more active, we started to kind of incorporate some of those things, but more educational stuff, right? Like if we were going to let her use a tablet, it was like one of those kind of kiddie smart tablets, right? Where they're
Mm-hmm.
learning colors and numbers. And okay, I can be okay with that. Um, but then right around like 3 or 4, she's starting to go to preschool, and now you've got kids talking about cartoons that they're watching, or like these different little things that, I can't think of the little kid's name, but it was like a cartoon that was really popular
Oh,
at the
sure.
time.
Sure, sure, sure.
Uh, and so, now she's asking questions because she's old enough now to know that like they're watching it, they're talking about it. Oh, it's Caillou, right? Caillou
Oh,
was the
okay.
thing.
Got it.
And Caillou's like I can't do it. But so like I was like, okay, we'll watch a couple episodes and see what we feel about it. And she liked it, and so we kept it for a little while anyway, right? Because Caillou's kind of like a knucklehead.
Yeah.
But that just kind of sparked into other things, and so we still limit it. I mean, we use it, right? Like it's hard to, as they get older, to keep being like, you can't use tech, you can't be
Totally.
on the screens, you can't, because their friends are doing it, and the world for them eventually when they're adults, like the tech is going to be their world. I mean, it
Yeah.
already is, right? But like if I handicap her now, right, and say that she
Mhm.
can't do it, at some point that's going to kind of work against her,
I agree.
right?
I agree.
Now I do think I know when you say it limits your parenting ability or ability to be I don't think so. I think it actually forces you to do a little bit more,
I agree.
right? Because now you have to be involved in that part of it too.
Mhm.
Not just what's happening in the spaces in your house, but now you have to be in those virtual spaces with your kid, right?
Mhm.
Because they're going to have questions about what somebody might have typed in on Roblox,
Mhm.
right? Or they're going to have these questions about like, why can't I watch that movie? Or what did they mean when they said that on this show?
Yeah.
And now it's asking you to parent a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I'm up for the challenge, right? Like that's for me, that's a teaching moment, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh yes, maybe it's too early. Like I didn't want to teach this right now, so let me figure out how I'm going to word this.
Yep.
But I'm up for it. And I think it's a little different with our second because we got that 2 year age gap, and so she got into it sooner because how are we gonna be like, you stay over here and don't look, right? And
Mhm.
you can go over here and do your thing.
Mhm.
And so she got into it sooner, and I think it definitely matured her a little faster,
Mm.
because there's more mature content in some of those things, right? Because it's hard to have your 8-year-old watch, preschool TV shows. Like she don't want to do it. You know what I mean? She's not watching numbers and letters. Like she's over it.
Exactly.
So they kind of have to scale up, and
She needs
then
the real entertainment.
Exactly. And that's kind of their struggle right now, is that they don't watching the same things that often. And so it's like, or doing the same things on a phone, right? And so
Mhm.
we just manage it, we just make it a part of what we do. We
Yeah,
limit it. We try to, not supplement. We try to use it as a complement to what our life is, and
yeah,
not like let it control everything, right? But
yeah,
again, I don't think it's something that we can completely insulate them from,
yeah, I
because
agree.
our world is moving in that direction.
At a insane rate. At
Yeah,
an
yeah.
insane rate.
So what we do now though is we try to like, she's taking coding classes.
That's
um
amazing.
and so, or our youngest will this summer, she's going to do coding for the first time. Well, she kind of learned it from our older daughter, but she's
Mm.
actually going to go to class this year, or in the summer, because I'm like, if you're going to do it, you need to learn on the back end of it too,
Yeah,
right? Like, if you want to be on Roblox all the time, you can create your own world. Like,
that's right.
you know what I mean? Let's figure out how to do that. Like, how cool you think whatever Piggy or whatever it is you play is, like, you can create your own world. And they bought into it. They love it. So I'm
That's
excited.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
What about you? What's your take on the
Yeah.
tech
I mean,
situation?
I'm pretty aligned with you, honestly. The place I'd go outside of that is like how you think about gear, especially with like newborns and things like that. Like I remember even my parents and I got into it a little bit because I was, there are three products that I would swear by.
Okay.
With kids are like the snoo for newborns,
Okay.
which is kind of a bassinet, but
Okay.
it basically swaddles rocks and creates white noise,
Oh
and
wow.
it's all intuitive with your phone and your child. So as they are getting calm and into sleep, it all slows down and it mellows out. And as they get fussy or they start to wake up in the middle of the night, it rocks them a little harder. The white noise gets a little bit louder, right? And it calms them back down, and then it mellows back out. But like
Right.
it's the only reason we slept in the first 6 7 months at all, right? And it was phenomenal. And then there's the Nanit, which is like this baby, this it's basically a baby monitor.
Okay.
But you put it, when we moved her to her room, this was the game changer for us, because not only was it great in her, there's like a little, you put a when she sleeps, you basically tie something around her stomach, and it
Hmm.
has some shapes on it that the Nanit reads and can tell you her breathing, and it can tell you the temperature in the room, the humidity in the room, so you can always keep mindful eye on that stuff, and it
Right.
records everything. So if something happens in the middle of the night, you can watch it play by play, like watching game film, right?
Okay.
Like, and so you can be aware of what happened and what your daughter went through and how long did she sleep and when was she restless and all
Yeah.
the things, right? And so there's something like that, or even small things like this baby Brezza, which is just basically a formula. It's like a Keurig for formula, but
Okay.
like that in the middle of the night at 3 in the morning, like
Game
that's a
changer.
game
Yeah.
changer.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
having to go make it, not have you or the mom not having to breastfeed at that time, or to try to go find where she pumped and go down to the fridge or one, like it's
Yeah.
just all those things just get you a little bit of life back, and don't and in my opinion don't in any way shape or form put baby in any worst case scenario. I think it's best for baby and probably best for parents, but that to
Right.
me those are great examples of like how to use these technological advancements and innovations to your benefit.
Right.
Things that just make it a little bit easier on you.
Right.
um, and I think help you sleep a little bit more at a time where you're not sleeping a lot, help you rest a little bit easier at a time where you're not resting at all, and you're in high anxiety mode all the time, right? Things like SIDS are incredibly real, and
Right.
have affected people close to me, right? Like knowing that your baby's breathing and the heart rate is okay, like that is peace of mind,
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
like we've leveraged elements of that. And it's funny, it's part of why I asked the question, because I've had arguments. People are like, well, that means you don't have to listen to your baby, or that means you don't have to hear for your baby. I'm like, no, that doesn't change that at all. Just gives you an extra tool, right?
Right.
Just gives you an extra thing to be in tune to, that helps you be smarter about how you manage things, right? And gives you more information. More information makes you more dangerous as a
Right.
parent or anything else. And
Right.
so It's things like that to me that I really leaned into as being a father, and even with my wife, on the mother side, like stuff like that just made it a little bit, I wouldn't say easier, but a little bit easier to deal with certain elements, right? To deal
Yeah.
with some of the anxieties, some of the unknowns, right? Because first time parents, man, there's a lot you don't know.
Yeah.
And so some of that stuff just kind of removes or reduces some of the anxieties of the unknowns.
Yeah. So I that all three of those things sound dope, right?
Yeah,
Like
sell some
I
ad
would
space. Sell some ad space to
right.
that.
I definitely would have used all three of those. And like our oldest daughter had a medical condition for the first couple of years of her life. And so we didn't really sleep at night just because it was like
Yeah.
was that what was that? Like checking
Yeah.
the baby monitor, like,
Yep.
a guy hop up in the middle of the night, something wakes me up, I'm going in the room, right?
Yep.
To the point where eventually it was like she's better off just sleeping with us.
Yeah.
And that was probably till she was about almost 3.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I wouldn't change anything, right? Because we have
Sure.
a really tight bond because of that. Like she still wakes up early in the morning and comes and climbs in the bed with us. And like that's really sweet to cuddle and all that stuff, right? But like the added stress of it
Yeah, man.
and not being able to sleep with an already busy life work
Yes.
schedule
Yes.
um definitely affected our
Yes.
our relationship together,
Of
right?
course.
Our relationship with at work, like you're not as like I'm not getting good sleep, so I'm cranky at work
Of
or
course.
or with each other. And so like you said, these things are tools. Now, granted,
Sure.
like 50 years ago, nobody had it, and they felt like they were better, maybe better parent. I
Yeah.
agree with you. I don't think so. Like I was even with the baby monitor, I was still more in tune.
You
You know
have
what I
to be.
mean? Like I wasn't like the baby monitor was on, and so all right, I'm cool. She's sleep.
Yeah.
Like and now I'm getting 8 hours of solid sleep. Like you
Exactly.
know what I mean? That didn't change anything. But that doesn't change the type of parent you are, right? The
That's
type of
right.
parent you are is who you are, no matter what kind of tech or tools you have. Um,
Yeah. And I think it's
like
really important, like the stress piece, like it just can't be overstated, the importance of managing that, right? Stress is a killer. It
right,
changes habits, it changes relationships, it changes productivity, it changes health. It changes everything. And
right,
so the more you can proactively manage that and decrease that, especially in a time of high stress activity with having a newborn, right?
right,
Um, it makes everything around you better, from your relationship to your wife or to your significant other, to your partner, to your friends, to your parents and family members, to your work, right? Like from a productivity standpoint, there's countless studies that talk about sleep and the lack thereof, what it and the effects that it has on the body. And it's a cumulative effect, right?
right,
So when you think about how many people aren't sleeping for a year, or a year and a half, 2 years before they can get their kids into solid sleeping regimens, like that has massive impact on the body
hmm hmm
and on your psyche and on everything around you, right? This cascading effect. So anytime we have the benefit of having tech that our parents' generation didn't. And I don't think that makes either generation better or worse parents, but I think we'd be crazy to not want to leverage these tools
right,
and use them as additional information sources and resources in general
right,
to continue to just be better parents
right.
and do what we can to be the best version of ourselves. And so stuff like that has just been, you know, if it gets my wife an extra hour sleep,
It's
that
worth it.
that
It's worth
is
it.
like, you kidding me? There's no price tag you can put on that, right? Especially
Right,
when you think about that over the course of years.
right,
So stuff like that is just I'm always having these arguments with parents. I feel like, because they're like, oh, you just set that on, you get alerts if anything happens. Like, yeah, that doesn't mean you get to turn off. Like
right,
you never get to turn off.
right, right,
But it's an additional piece where, like, God forbid something bad happen, you've got all these other resources and information sources that you can also share with doctors, or you can share with your friends when you're making the call, like, hey man, have you dealt with this, right?
right, right.
So yeah, I've found it incredibly beneficial, and highly recommend it for anybody watching or listening to this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, think
and,
about it.
and make
Like,
sure you sell that ad space.
we'll do. And think about it, like when we were, well, I'm a little older than you, but when I was younger, I remember a time where we didn't wear seatbelts in the car. Like we was just sliding around the back seat.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people were smoking in spaces with infants. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
so, these advances in technology or even in knowledge are
Yeah.
huge, right? And we can always look back and be like, well, we didn't do it this way, and look how we turned out, kind of thing. But if you have the knowledge, right? If you knew better, you do better, right? And so that's one of those
Period.
situations where you can know more and then you can make more educated decision about what to do as a parent, right? I think like you said, it's a tool. It makes you stronger
Yeah.
as a parent. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of jealous we didn't have some of that stuff.
Hey, man, stop trying to act like you're 20 years older than me, okay?
Look, man.
You might have like 18 months on me. You might be 18 months older than me.
I might not even be that, bro.
You're acting like you Uncle Drew over here.
I'm
Where
just
you
saying,
like,
man. I'm just saying. I
he's
feel
like, I got these
old because
30-year-old kids, and I'm turning 62 next week.
you know how it is. Yeah. Listen, once you hit 35, dog, you should start going by fives. Like you
I've hit it,
just
bro. I hit it.
turn to dog
I
years
hit it.
after
I'm
that.
there. I feel it.
Look, and then I work around athletes, right? And nobody's really over 22, right? Or maybe you got a couple guys that are long in the tooth veterans, right? But most
Man,
people are, 22 and younger. So I'm like really the old dude all the
for real.
time. And I'm getting
For real.
older and they're staying the same age because just new athletes are
I know,
cycling
because they
in.
just keep cycling through.
I'm like, man, yeah. So back in my day,
Yeah, I be saying that a lot. You know,
right.
what's funny is like somebody was having a conversation with me and somebody brought up Max Preps. Do you know what Max Preps is?
Yeah.
Okay. Max Preps launched when I was like graduating high school. And I was like, man, I think I'm pre-Max Preps era. Like that feels like BC. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely wasn't. It wasn't. I'm gonna do it again. It wasn't around when I was playing.
Oh, see, here you go. You know what I'm saying? You was 1 year ahead of me. You was 1 year. I think it
Uh,
literally launched my senior year in high school.
Yeah,
Um,
I was telling somebody the other day, I was talking to a kid about recruiting, and I was like, man, y'all got it so good. Like I had to, not only did I have to like put mine on VHS, but we only had one VCR. So I had to borrow
yeah,
my neighbor's VCR
yes,
and then buy the VHS and I had to record
yes.
them together.
Yes.
Like,
And this
come
is
on,
all
man.
pre-YouTube era. So
Yeah, like I'm
like
at the
it's
post
funny
office mailing off VHS tapes.
exactly with letters and clippings from the newspaper and like
Exactly.
all the things. And yeah, it's so funny. My father came and brought 2 boxes worth of tapes that he still had in the garage. He was like,
Yeah.
just in case your kids ever say you couldn't hoop, here you go. Here's some proof. I'm like, I ain't got nothing to play these on. I gotta gotta bring this to somebody.
Right. You got to get them with it
You
transcribed or something. Yeah.
know what I'm saying? I don't even know if you can buy a VCR on Amazon anymore. Jeff Bezos is probably like, nope,
Yeah,
we don't
no, they
sell
ain't
those.
going for that. You got to get it on like the Facebook Marketplace or something. A swap meet.
And they're gonna charge you for delivery.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So hey, talking about hoop, I know you play basketball. And when's the last time you hooped?
Been a while, man. Been a while. I had a torn rotator cuff and a torn labrum in my right shoulder. And so I had that surgery probably close to, I think it's been about 16, 17 months now. So I think I've shot a ball maybe twice in the last 16, 17 months. I haven't played since before that surgery.
Okay.
And for a while, I was like, even post careers, I had 2 really nasty knee injuries, 2 reconstruction surgeries in 6 months, tore ACL, both my meniscus and other ligaments in the knee. So my right knee is I guarantee you a lot older than you. My right knee is about 83. But even after that, and I had stopped playing competitively, I would jump in a rec league every now and then, right? Or I'd jump in a work league, and I'll be the ringer, right? Come
Right.
light up, come light it up real quick. But I had to stop. Honestly, like I'm really competitive. I don't know how to turn that off when it comes to basketball because I remember back in the day,
Right.
right? Like other people might not. I remember those days when I could do those things, and so.
Yeah.
I'll come across the guy who's 5 years younger than me, never really played at that level, but is a good player, but like talk shit like, like they are LeBron James.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I have to take it upon myself to prove a point and put somebody in their place. And then my knee hurts for like 6 months after that. I'm like, this is not worth it. Like, yes, did that, but now I'm hurting for months after the fact. So I stopped playing competitively or even in rec leagues a while ago, man. But I miss it like hell. Like, I just love, I've been working on just getting the strength back in my shoulders just so I can get back in them gyms and just get some shots up.
Yeah. I hear you, man. I hear you. I got lured into that trap a couple times. I avoid it now. Like I know
I'm a sucker for it.
I know how to get out of that landmine.
Yeah.
Kids are like always want to race me, or they want me to lift with them, or like, I'm like, look, bro, my eligibility is up. Like I did my time
with this. I
did my time. Like you're not what's the benefit of you beating an old man? Like what you gonna do? You gonna tell your friends you beat a 38-year-old? Like, come on, man. Like, don't nobody care. Look, and I'm not gonna tell nobody I beat you. Like it ain't gonna matter.
Don't nobody care, right?
Like nobody wins here, right? Seriously. Nobody wins here.
Seriously. Although if I was in hoop shape right now, I probably could have helped a couple teams.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. You get a 10-day contract.
I'm just saying. I saw Dennis Schroeder go 0 for 9 and score 0 points in the playoffs. I'm just saying.
I could do that.
I'm just saying I can get you a couple buckets.
Right. You got to make it through the practices, though.
Yeah. Right, that's a different story. See, I'm not in that kind of shape. Not in practice shape.
Right. It's funny. You see old dudes in the league, and this was I don't know, maybe a couple years ago. Yeah, it was a couple years ago. So watching like a little post game thing, and it was LeBron, Kendrick Perkins. He didn't play at all that game, right? Like he didn't play at all, like 0 minutes, right? And I don't know if he was hurt or whatever, but post game he had ice bags on his knees. And I'm like, dog, you ain't what? Is that from sitting? Like your knees hurt?
That was that warm up.
Like, man, like, yo, it's time to hang them up at that point. Like,
I mean, you remember those years though, right? Back in the day, sitting in those ice baths and like those 2-a-days and 3-a-day or 2-a-days plus conditioning, plus strength, plus like, man, I still am like, I don't know how we spent that many hours in the gym for that long.
Yeah, especially now, right? Like, I feel like I'm so busy now. Squeezing in my 45 minutes to get my workout in, it seems like I got to figure out how to get this down like 5-10 minutes. Like I got to figure out,
for real,
because I could do so much with that extra 5 minutes, right?
For real. Elon Musk got to be working on a pill that like replaces a workout.
It's coming.
It's coming. Get the meal replacement shake. I need the workout replacement pill.
That's coming, right? It's gonna come with a round trip ticket to space.
I'm in. I'm buying
it. Yeah. That's crazy because that's coming. Like, I mean, in our lifetime, I believe. I
think you're right.
In our lifetime, we may be, we're already old, but in our lifetime, man.
I'm glad you brought me into that category.
Yeah, come on in, brother.
Well, wow, come on in. It's making me feel like I was still showing up to like my 2-year high school reunion.
Come in, man. The water's nice. They serve seltzer here. We'll be good.
Warm. We got beer. We got Japanese whiskey. It's all good.
I like that. The Japanese whiskey. Do you have I'm gonna go on a tangent here. What's your favorite Japanese whiskey here?
Yamazaki. All day.
Okay.
All the time. Yeah. Hard to find these days. I just actually had a massive triumph like 2 weeks ago. This shop that I know gets probably 4 or 5 bottles a year called me. They said they got 2 bottles. I said, I'm on my way.
Look at that.
Taking both of them.
You're on the VIP list for that.
Hey, man, you got to chase those down.
Yeah.
But a little bit more easy to find, but still really good is Hibiki. Hibiki Harmony is really good.
Okay.
So that's my go-to when I can't find Yamazaki anywhere.
Yeah. See, you're on the next level of whiskey. I'm still like, low level whiskey, right?
We're gonna have to get you a bottle of Hibiki or Yamazaki because once you taste that, it's over. It's over.
You on Jay-Z level whiskey, right? Like you, right?
Yo,
Japanese whiskey.
So
circling it.
That really bothered me Because I've been drinking Japanese whiskey for a while because I used to go to Japan a lot.
Uh-huh.
And I used to go to China a lot. So I've been to China probably like 20 times. I've been to Japan probably like 10 times. And so I got put on all those years ago. And in recent years, you had Beyonce drop a verse where she said Yamazaki on the rocks, which pissed me off because since then I can't find it anywhere. It's impossible to find. And then now you got Jay-Z talking about Japanese whiskey on his mezzanine.
Right.
And I'm like, come on, man. Just let me have this. Let me have this luxury, please.
Yeah. You know for sure it's gonna be gone. Like it.
Yeah, now it's gonna be impossible to find. This is the problem with it.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm into it. I'm all about it. I was actually planning on tomorrow getting some whiskey and cigar and spend some time in the backyard chilling out. As long as it's not 1,000 degrees out here like it has been
I know,
the
man.
last couple of days.
Well,
But,
do a quick Yelp search. Find who has Hibiki.
okay,
You can
I'm
probably
on it.
find Hibiki, Hibiki. Get a bottle of Hibiki. Do the right thing.
I'm on it.
Do the right thing.
All right, so
Or come down here. I got some.
Okay.
Come down here. Bring the fam.
I'm gonna take you up on that.
That's easy. That's easy.
All right. I got a kind of a good one, right? What does fatherhood mean to you?
Purpose, life. It is literally everything that I grind for right now at this point, right? Like for a long time, I would say prior to Ella being born, I was grinding for a couple reasons. One was to change my and my family's stars a little bit and like to take this big step forward for our family. But there was another piece of there that was just like, my father and his parents defected from Cuba. My mom had some serious things that she overcame in her childhood, right? Like, and so I also just wanted to, and my grandparents' generation, like their mom and dad, both on my mom and my dad's side, went through some real trials and tribulations and sacrificed a lot to give their kids a chance for something better. And so a lot of what drove me early in life was trying to make them proud and trying to prove that sacrifice more than worth it. And I don't want to say like I'm the only one in my, my whole family that's doing like there's a ton of people in my family in this most recent generation that are doing some amazing things. Like I have cousins and and sisters obviously that are doing some really incredible things, and it's great to see and it's heartwarming. But like that's what drove me for a long time, is like making them proud and making the sacrifices worth it, and bringing my grandmother to something, or bringing my grandfather to a game, or and letting them see what they sacrificed for a little bit. But man, it switched so fast when I got the news that we were going to be parents. And then it was, okay, how do I set her up for everything?
Yeah.
Right? How do I open up every door she'd ever want to walk through? How can, I think about, amassing a level of financial freedom for her, so she doesn't have to carry that stress into this, right? Or so she won't have to have student loans and student loan debt, which I know so many people in this country are suffering from, right? Like there's property, right? Like art. I started collecting art, right? Like, because again, in a world where I've gotten really inundated into that space, right? Like there's a lot of great investments there. And something gets really hard and you can pull something off of the wall and liquidate it and have it be meaningful. Like that's real. So, it just changed my entire orientation from, focusing on like making people proud and creating evolution for my family, that was current, to like, okay, now this is all setting up for this next generation, right? For my daughter. And if there's another one that comes along, like to give them everything that they could have, so that wherever their interests lie or their passions lie, they can run after that at 100 miles an hour and not ever have to worry about something being unattainable or unreachable. They can go as far as their work ethic and their intellect and their passion will take them.
Nice. That's dope, man. Purpose. I like it. So
Yeah.
I got one more for you. before
Yeah.
I let you go. It's kind of a two-part question. Um, if you had a on the 405, billboard on the 405, and it was just fathers on the freeway, right? Just fathers were gridlocked and for on the 405, what would you want that billboard to say? What message would you want for them to see?
Mm.
Yeah.
A billboard just for fathers to see.
Hmm.
Probably something to the extent of the sacrifice and or the grind is worth it, with just a collage pictures of all those fathers, kids, sons and daughters, right? Like going back to what I was just kind of talking about, like, you know, the sacrifices I'm making right now, like whether it's the insane hours I'm putting into work and building companies and, and still finding time for, to spend significant time with my wife and my daughter and my family and like all of it, like all the stuff that where I'm not being selfish and just saying, oh, I would love to be doing this right now. So I'm just going to go down to Cabo or I'm gonna go kick it in Barcelona for a month because I can do that. Right. Like all the sacrifice, all the grind, all the work, all of it is worth it in spades if we can create a better situation, a better planet, better world, better society, and a better foundation for, the generation that we leave behind us, right? And I think that's something that weighs heavy on me. It's, kind of, I talk about it in my career, I talk about it personally with my friendships and my relationships, and it doesn't ring any more true than with my daughter and what I'm trying to set up for her. So yeah, I want them just to be reassured that it's all worth it and that it's worth anything they can put into it.
Nice, nice. And here's the second part.
Mm.
Same billboard. There's only one car on the road though, and it's your kids. What do you want that billboard to say?
I did everything I could.
I
I
like
left
it.
nothing on the floor. Like I left nothing in the tank. This is where like I'll go back to Kobe, where I have like immense amount of respect. That man wanted to maximize every ounce of potential that existed in his being. Um, I've never seen that in any other individual in the way that I saw that in him. And I know he inspired people around the world that never even got to meet him. Um, and that was the kind of power that he had. And that absolutely affected me as well. Um, and that's kind of how I'm trying to drive right now. It's like, I didn't leave anything left. There was nothing left. I gave everything,
Yeah.
for you. Right. And that really is like the sole focus of my purpose at this point. It's just like creating a foundation and something that she can be able to leverage for years and years to come, well after my wife and I aren't carrying the same responsibility and maybe not even here anymore, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I'd want her to just know I left it all on the floor.
Nice. I like that. I did everything for you. I did everything I could, dot, 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 for you. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's fire. That's fire. All right. So before we wrap up, where can people find you if they want to find you online?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Orlando_Baeza, Baeza. LinkedIn, same thing. Search my name, Orlando Baeza. You'll find me. I'm not a lot of Orlando Baezas out there, so I'm not too easy to confuse. But yeah, man, feel free to tap in, get in touch with me if there's ways I can be helpful to the cause. I'm always listening, and I'm trying to set up more and more ways that I can continue to impact people, even if I can't, even if it can't be me physically or me taking one-on-one time. Like just trying to find more and more ways to give people resources and insight and information.
Okay. All right. Cool. Cool. Well, I got one more, and I'd be remiss if I didn't ask this. And I'm trying to let you go. I promise. I promise. I promise. But you mentioned it, and it's something that I think a lot of guys struggle with. And so I really want to ask you. You talked about like all of the time that you spend, all the hours that you put in, and like you're building these companies and you're doing all these things, but you still manage to find quality time to spend
Mm.
with your wife and your kid. Like, how are you doing that? How are you juggling that? How are you balancing the scale on that one?
Yeah. Um, it's hard, man, and it's fluid. Um, but finding the pockets that you can do it. Sometimes it's a meeting on my books that gets canceled. So I'll go upstairs to the playroom because I know my wife and my daughter are there, right? And I'll spend that 30 minutes in there. It's shutting it down at a certain time to get a pocket of time around dinner or before she goes to sleep and help put her to sleep, or, put her in the crib, get her a bottle, bath time, whatever it may be. And then I'll turn the computer back on and turn it back on for the rest of the night, right? Like, or finding those times in the morning to go pick her up before my meetings kick in. And, so it's finding what works within your schedule, within, your responsibility set to make it come to life. But you got to make time. You got to
Yeah.
it's not going to appear. It won't just be there for you. Oh, here's an extra 4 hours. Go have fun. Like,
Right.
you got to go carve it out. You got to make it, right? And so sometimes it's taking, the beginning of this week, actually, I took 2 PTO days so I could go to some preschool tours and go to some doctor appointments and be here for some evaluations and like things like that, where it's like I could easily just be stuck in meetings. I'm pretty much back to back in meetings every day from roughly 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. pretty much every day, right? And so I'll either build in a work block or build in a break in there so I can go to something or be part of something. Or I'll
Right.
shut it down from, 6 to 8 or 7 to 8 or 7 to 9 or whatever that may be. And then I'm back online post that till whenever. So yeah, just, sometimes I'm setting up meetings at 6 a.m. if somebody's on the East Coast or in London, so that I can knock it out, so I can have some time in that morning when she's awake to do that. So you just got to find it. You got to find it.
Right.
Everybody's schedule is going to be different. So it's got to be bespoke and it's got to work for you and your family, but you can do it. You can figure it out while managing a crazy workload and, between my responsibilities as the CMO of Kajabi, which is intense and a very busy job, like, and what I'm doing with things like ZenPup, or, when I'm trying to, give advice to another friend who's building a company and like trying to help lift the people around me, right? The mentorship and the coaching that I do, just got to make it all work for you, right? But
Yeah.
priorities matter. And so, at the end of the day, family always comes first. And so you gotta find the time for it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I like to say it's like you can't balance the two because they don't equal the same, right?
Yeah.
Like the time, the minutes are the same. It's like a pound of gold and a pound of feathers. Like they both weigh a pound, but one is worth significantly more.
Yeah.
And that family time is for me is always going to be worth more
Yeah.
than whatever other thing I have going on. And so even if it's 5 minutes, 5 minutes of gold. Like
Yeah.
I appreciate it. They appreciate it, and I'm going to be fully there.
Yeah.
Right. Like if I have to have all my time spread out doing other things, when I do get those minutes that I've programmed into my schedule, that I've planned for, that I've weaseled out somehow to make sure I have it,
Mhm.
they're going to be impactful. Right. They're going to
Yeah.
be memorable and exciting, and it's super important. So
Yeah.
thank you.
It's true, man. It's so true. It's funny how many times just this week alone, like I've had people, how was your vacation? How was your vacation? Because I took 2 days on top of a 3-day weekend. I'm like, there was no vacation. Like I was just home with the wife and the baby, and we went and saw some preschools and we had some doctor appointments. But like it's just stuff that with my regular work schedule, impossible.
Right.
Right. So you carve out the time. You take most of my vacation days these days are that I do take are not on vacation.
Right.
Right. But just pouring into the things that matter.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Pour into the things that matter. All right, man. Thank you again. Thank you again
Thank
for
you.
joining me. Thank you for sharing. I totally appreciate it, man. And I'm sure what you had to say is going to help somebody, continue to build and grow their fatherhood, so they continue to father forward, man. I appreciate it, bro.
I appreciate you, man. I love what you're doing, dude. Keep doing, keep going. Any way I can be helpful along the way, you already know.
All right. I'll let you know when I get the Japanese whiskey.
Come on.
I'll send you a
Well, come
picture.
through. I'm telling you, just come through.
All right. We have to set it up.
All right, man.
All right, brother.
Appreciate you.
No, thank you.